Hello, Betty Croswick here. Today I learned that because of my sympathy for the freedom convoys, that I have been accused of dancing with the devil, which I find rather funny, but at the same time, it isn't funny. Uh, and I think about the person who wrote this, that uh, why they would say such a thing to equate the working class with the devil. I think their mama didn't raise them right to say such a thing. I think maybe uh, they should have a second opinion discussion with the mama somewhere. Okay, so however, it did put a downer on my day to think that there are people who do have these opinions, and that and such contempt for the working class that it must be a heavy burden for them because there are so many working class people to carry this around. So, however, I just then immediately turned my thoughts to the Honorable Brian Peckford, who is bringing forth a lawsuit against government for contravening the rules and legislations of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Now, Mr. Pickford was also the Premier of Newfoundland from 1979 to 1989, and the last surviving, legislator who brought together the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. He will win this lawsuit. I just feel that he will, because it's there in black and white how the Trudeau government is totally ignoring the Charter of Rights and Freedoms of the people who are seeking redress. And, ruling by decree. This is, the king has said this is so, and this is the way this will be. Never mind other rules and laws or other provisions. I will rule by decree, and this is what I am ruling. Now, this is pretty bad. It's pretty awful that this rule by decree is accepted by so many Canadians. I think is awful, because this totally ignores the charter, the provisions in the charter that protect people when they are brought to bear and can be brought to bear. And Mr. Pickford is using sections 2, 6, 7, and 15 to prove that the Trudeau government has brought harm to the people of Canada and to the rules and laws of the Canadian Constitution. And I think he will win because it's self-evident. And I have great hopes for this lawsuit. Now, it's not helping right now, and how long will it take to come to the court? We don't know. We also don't know how long this these freedom convoys are going to last. I hope that it's resolved in some way on a temporary basis, at least until this lawsuit can come to court, because some awful things can happen in the meantime, and it makes me really uneasy. And now, when I was in court myself, I tried using these freedom stuff that that Mr. Peckford is going to use, but I didn't get very far because, again, it was because the courts, another arm of government, who decided to rule by decree on the quarrels that protesters brought to the court to try to protect the public forests and First Nations rights to the table in deciding the outcome of these challenges. But the courts have always decided that, well, they don't know so much about these Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and even though civil disobedience, which many of us were using, is not seated in the criminal code, that is, the criminal code does not speak specifically what to do with civil disobedience, then we will just use these injunctions because it's an easy way. It's a decree from the king. And when you're in these situations, the court is the king. And this decree is the injunction, because the injunction from an individual judge who is the king in this situation will prohibit anybody from interfering in any way with the actions of the logging companies, and they do this by considering the tree farm licenses as a right of ownership, of at least temporary ownership of the logging companies to these forests that are public or either unceded by the by First Nations. So it's a very easy way for the court to rule by decree, that they rule by decree, whereas instead of being renters, instead of considering these tree farm licenses as a license to rent a section of our forests for a time, the courts, by decree, the injunctions, is and ceded to the logging companies as not as renters, which is what they really are, but as owners. So this rule by decree can come from any section of the government, and but I think Mr. Peckford has a different chance than just ordinary Canadians to win this battle over the prominence of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, particularly in disputes of who owns what and who has the right to what, and how to divide up the ownership, these are all questions that Canadian people have to be involved in. We are citizens, and no matter what, I'm working class. I was raised by working class people. I was raised in the country. I still have lingering country values, for Pete's sakes, and some of them not so lingering. And anyway, this is how the BC government in British Columbia has stopped the the protesters from trying to hold off the destruction of the forests, particularly through a clear cutting method that scrapes everything to the bone. Just by simply ruling the judges rule by decree. So there is that. And in a way, it kind of reminds me of Trudeau as a reluctance to come speak to people. Now, really, is he going to be in any physical danger? He's got all the RCMP, all of the armed forces of the nation there to protect me that could be 10 feet deep. And he's not going to face any real physical danger from the people. They just want to be heard and something done about their inability to make a living now through these mandates. So we'll see how that turns out. But in a way, you know, Trudeau reminds me of Dorothy's dilemma in The Wizard of Oz, where she is looking for the Wizard of Oz, but her companions on the road are not very good companions. They have deficiencies. They one has no heart, one has no brain, one has no courage, and so she has to deal with them. And it makes me wonder, where are Trudeau's advisors? They must know, and surely if they are an advisor to the premier, that his not speaking with people who are growing in number and who want a redress of the impediments put out by the mandates that prevent them from making a living. And by not hearing them, I think this is a really stupid political mistake, because it shows that he hasn't thought this through. And maybe like the Tin Man, he's not got enough brain matter. But surely some of his advisors must have. And that this is a really gross political mistake, in that it puts all of Canada in danger, in a sense of disruptions and more disruptions in everything. So I think in a sense, he needs the brain power to think this through, and the courage to do something about it. Because I do believe that Trudeau right now is the main person dancing with the devil. So next time, thank you. Bye.